It's a typical day in your ninth grade classroom. You sit in your desk and your teacher takes attendance. Then your teacher prepares you for your next upcoming test. Typical day, right? Now, could you imagine what a classroom from 1916 looked like? Well, it was pretty much the same thing. Yep, in over a century, nothing in our modern school system has changed. Yet we still believe that this traditional way of teaching students is the best way to prepare them. If the goal of schools is to prepare students, shouldn't there be more done in order to advance the future? I think it's safe to say that there's been many advances in technology in the past 100 years. But let's imagine if we never changed it. We might still be using phones with cords. The original purpose of schools was to prepare students for jobs in factories. That's why students were to sit in perfect rows, ask questions by raising their hands, and we grade them the same way we grade product quality. Because obviously the way to encourage students is to tell them that their future is no more important than the floors of their local McDonald's or the ground beef at Walmart. In a time when we needed more students to work in factories, it made sense to prepare students in that way. But now, even from 2001, there are almost 5.1 million less factory jobs in the United States due to advances in our international trading system. Nowadays, we need more people who think critically, who analyze, and are innovative in order to advance the world. But how can we do that when we continue to teach children the same way we taught them in 1916? In our school system, we treat each student as if they were the exact same. As if one teacher can stand in front of a room of 20 or 30 students and have them all retain the exact same information. Any neurosurgeon could tell you that no two brains are the same, yet our school system feeds students this one-size-fits-all claim. In fact, the curriculum that is taught in school systems is not created by teachers. What is taught in schools is created by policymakers who probably have never taught a classroom in their lives, yet they determine what students are allowed to learn. These policymakers are the ones who regulate test taking. They're the ones who believe that filling in a Scantron is the best way to determine the intelligence of a child. But in fact, the inventor of standardized testing, Frederick J. Kelly, said, "These tests are too crude to be used and should be abandoned." Trying to advance the school system is something that could take a lot of time, but the students that are going through this system are the ones who will control the future. So shouldn't our first priority be to prepare the next generation for the future rather than preparing them for the past? One of the leaders of the educational system, Finland, has been leading the world in their recent rise in reading and math literacy over the past decade. Finland has shorter school days and allows for teachers to regulate their own classroom. Instead of having policymakers, teachers are allowed to control what is learned in their classes and how their classrooms run, instead of having Common Core. The United States has also been making advances in their system by the use of grants from the government. For instance, some teachers have begun adding bikes under their students' desks in order to allow students to be active and combat their ADD, which has risen in the past few years. There are also specialty schools that have smaller classes, but most of the time they're only allowed in private schools, which everyone does not have access to. Although there have been advances, there is still more that can be done to prepare students for the future.
Created using Powtoon.